And the bottom left in the red, he is the teamless Terran, GuMiho.
And his opponent spawning up at the top right for Onside Gaming. It is Maru. And it looks like GuMiho with the gas first. Oh my god, he's okay. He's not going one racks expand. He's going gas first, double gas. And Maru, for his part, is doing the more economic barracks gas. With that, of course, you get the orbital command a little bit faster. Your Reaper and your Factory are slightly later, but it's just the better build. It's what players do now, and it's why they're so comfortable going for this, because it's still reasonably, well, it's still very safe, and it's still reasonably economic. But I was talking about GuMiho, you know, going for greed versus not, and clearly already the amount of respect that he shows to Maru as a player with this ultra safe build is significant.
Yeah, not only is it ultra safe, it does give you quicker tech, right? That's the big deal. By getting that gas a little bit faster, it does allow GuMiho to, hey, you know, keep himself safe against whatever Maru might want to do. But also it means the factory's faster. It means that maybe you can, I'm not going to even say surprise Maru with the timing, because Maru saw the factory timing. But maybe hit with something. Hit with something a little off meta. Add an extra Hellion. I don't know. Something like that, and take advantage of this, you know, potential slightly earlier factory timing, maybe earlier starport timing that GuMiho has bought for himself, because otherwise, Steadfast, you talk about it being safe. The flip side of that is it's not as economic. You're not going to have as much economy into the mid game, and I don't know about you, but if I'm running into Maru, I don't want to nerf my mid game just without doing anything.
No, I certainly don't, but at the same time, Maru is a wild card who will go for proxy 2-Rex Reaper more than your average bear, who will go for some really wild stuff. So, I mean, the reputation of Maru, it's another one of his many superpowers that he's got, and GuMiho is going to try and push across the map here with the first 2 Reapers and a Hellion, but Maru's in position. As long as he's paying attention, he shouldn't lose the SCV here, but GuMiho... okay, nope, GuMiho was not able to get the target fire.
Nah.
Oh, and he actually attacked the command center again. Hello, Gumi?
Okay, he gets the positive trades there. He doesn't take very little damage on the Hellion. He kills one of his opponent's Reapers, and now
that wasn't supposed to happen on either side.
No. And now
neither of them, they were both supposed to micro that better as far as like what we would expect.
This snowballs. We're going to see the SCV go down, certainly. It's a little hard to go on the high ground now, especially with the Marines here, but this is 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions against not nearly as much Maru. Thinking about going onto the low ground. He wants his command center to go up, but
GuMiho hid the 3rd Reaper, and he actually almost baited his opponent to the low ground. And if he had done so, that could have been a really big problem. Will be a siege tank popping out and a couple more Marines. That's going to be enough for Maru to push this back, and he should hold the command center. But if GuMiho... Oh, nice target fire on the far away Reapers from the siege tank. Gets the 2 that are clumped up. Another Hellion does show up. Great grenade. But Maru will push this back, and he will finish the command center, but it's so delayed.
And you know what?
Command finished for GuMiho.
And that was with GuMiho having the delayed command center from this double gas first opening. And Reaper in the main. Nice scout here as well. I would have liked to see GuMiho run forward with his Hellions a little bit in that last fight. The Marines were very much in the line, and he probably could have done even better in that fight. Regardless, you know, he gets positive trades. He puts himself in a wonderful position. And as a result of this, Steadfast, he's at 4 SCVs.
That's a really nice early game. Now, I don't think Maru's going to panic.
No.
He is not the kind of player that panics. And especially in TVT, you can erase a small SCV lead from the early game. I wouldn't say without any trouble, but it is the matchup where, you know, a worker lead is the, I would say, least impactful on who would win the game. Like in ZVZ, if you have a 5-worker lead for a significant period of time, or PvP, it's really difficult to deal with. But in TVT, yeah, you'll get everything a little bit quicker. It's good, but it's not always, you know, the be-all, end-all.
Yeah, certainly not. But I do like this move coming out of GuMiho regardless. When the Raven gives vision on the high ground, double cycle and looks for the snipe. The supply depot, is that in range of the lock-on? doesn't.
He can, yeah, he can lock onto that, I'm pretty sure, but he actually doesn't. Oh, he locked onto the SCV. Oh my goodness. Did GuMiho actually wait for that? Or was he maybe focusing on the other side of the map? We do see the drop getting unloaded here. And Maru knows that this is going to go down, but he's just trying to distract his opponent so that the Vikings are being microed. Oh, wait, hang on. No, this doesn't get to escape.
No way.
That's not how this works.
Zero.
That's not how this works.
Zero.
Maru. No way.
No. I was like, zero shot. Their Vikings and double Cyclones brought home. And somehow it gets out. And somehow it gets I think it got a supply depot. It got a little damage done. But here's what GuMiho's doing. In response here, he understands that was a medevac on the other side. He understands that is not something that Maru will have available to him. He's going to catch it. Well, actually, the Viking's going to find it there. There we go. Yeah. It's dead. And now this is a pretty solid army coming out of GuMiho. He's up 9 army supply. He's got double Cyclone. He's got 4 Vikings. He's got 2 tanks here. And he's going to siege the main up. And given... I feel like he could have sieged it up even tighter. For now, he's going to siege it up a little bit further away.
Maru never restarted the 3rd CC. He lost the SCV and he never resumed it. He's going to start it again now. Maru with a huge blunder here. That is very uncharacteristic of Maru here.
And it's so cool seeing how GuMiho is doing this as well. He's supporting the push. He's pulled 2 SCVs, right? Taking advantage of some of that economic value, some of that economic lead he's found earlier, which means that in equal Viking trades, he will win the Viking war. The repairs will keep them alive. And that is so important in a setup like this. You want to win the air battle because it unlocks so much. So for now, Flower of Vikings moving forward. This command center getting so low here. The repair for now seems like it's going to keep it alive, but this is expensive. So much here in mining time and actually in total cost as well. So
that little Viking shot is actually really big. It's even Viking numbers.
Yeah, but you have repair steadfast.
Oh, yeah, that's what the SCVs are for.
I just said that.
Yeah. My brain like forgot because I'm so used to the Vikings being like I'm so used to the Vikings being decided by those little shots. By the way, Maru is going mech, but GuMiho has him in this very tight chokehold.
This is a vice grip here, and
yeah,
because it's mech, I mean, it's just being able to go through. Oh, nice disable there on a couple of Vikings. GuMiho. Oh no, he doesn't win this at all.
Way better for Maru.
Yeah, this is massive.
Yeah. GuMiho tried to disable the Ravens. Maru disabled the Vikings immediately, which means Maru wins this fight in the air, at least initially. It ends up being 2 for 1 in favor of Maru, but he didn't actually re-engage during this. And now a scan comes down, finds one of the Vikings. GuMiho actually holds the Viking lead at the moment. GuMiho's going into air from this.
And mech. He's got Mag Field Accelerator on the way.
This is so smart from Gumi.
This is so cool. But look at what Maru's done, by the way. We've been focusing on this fight outside of the natural, and it's super important. Maru, he got that 3rd base finished, and he's taken our proxy base. Now, of course, there is an issue getting SCVs over there. I don't know if we have any medevacs. We don't. So it's not going to mine as efficiently as you would like. And actually, GuMiho finds himself pretty heavily supply blocked as he tries to win this air battle. But for now, Liberators are finally out. Disable on the tank on the right side. The Vikings are going to land here, trying to win the fight. And the tanks are just doing so much. The landed Vikings don't do what they have to do. The Vikings in the air are worth so much here. And GuMiho just dropped the Vikings, but he's not going to. He's going to back up a little bit. I really think dropping the Vikings on that army just wins this game.
I think it might, but I think he might have already kind of won it anyways. There we go. Now he lands the Vikings, covers against the SCV pull. 10 SCVs go down in an instant. Maru is 30 army supply down. He's 23 SCVs down. And GuMiho is looking to close this one out with a Viking Liberator transition, a triple starport build. He's got 14 Vikings, 4 tanks, and 2 Ravens. That's his army right now.
Yeah, Maru has one Viking and a Cyclone. He's got a couple tanks, but that doesn't help here as the big attempted break goes down. But just land the Vikings on top of it. There's like 1 tank, 2 tank siege, and this is going to get shut down by the Ravens anyways. What a cool game for game 1 out of GuMiho. My goodness. He came to play.
GuMiho just pulled off the sickest build.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was so freaking awesome. Oh my God, that was so awesome.
it sparks joy, maybe an overused phrase, but this is sparking so much joy. This is just where can we go from here? We had a triple Viking mech all in with Magfield, or a triple Starport timing with Magfield. How can we? I mean, I know how we can break that. We could have a 20-minute awesome TVSD on Ancient Cistern, but I mean, that's a pretty solid start to the series.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking cool. That was a really cool match right there. GuMiho. I mean, honestly, the air transition didn't really get a chance to kick in. It was the hold at the natural, the contain at the natural that did so much work. Mm-hmm. Man, that was bloody impressive from GuMiho, and it is very clear to me that he has had some really specific prep for this series, and now I'm so excited about this. He has brought the heat in game number 1.
Yeah, that was cool. But of course, so first of all, not only did GuMiho have a really solid preparation, clearly, I mean, he's warmed up for TVT after that last series. But of course, this is Maru, and he has lost games before. It's taken the series, especially best of 5. That is a little bit harder to deal with. So Steadfast, we're going to get into game number 2 now of this series. It's Ancient Cistern. GuMiho had a cool build in game 1. Let's see what he has in store for us in this second game. In the upper right, he's down a game for Onside Gaming, looking to find his way into the round of 8 and go even further. It's Maru.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left with a super cool build in game number 1. It is GuMiho. Oh, second barracks. Defensive 2 racks. There it is. All right.
I love this series. I mean, you talked about it actually in the Spirit series, how solid GuMiho's series planning was. He went Reaper Expand game 1, and then I forget what he actually did game 2, but he goes back to it, and it's just this really good job of mixing his openings together to make sure that Spirit was kept off guard. And we're seeing that again. You know, GuMiho, he goes gas barracks gas in game 1, has just a little bit quicker stuff, wins a really good fight against equal forces on the other side, puts Maru behind, and then hits with this timing. And now you talked about it, you know, defensive double barracks at home. We're going to see 2 Reapers at a time coming out of GuMiho here. Unless Maru's not going to be able to, he's not going to see much, but he sees enough. Command Center on the high ground.
He has decided to play it safe. He doesn't know whether it is a factory expand or if it is double Reaper play. Very smart move from Maru, and it is going to pay off extremely well for him here. Because if he doesn't do this, that command center likely has to be canceled.
That's true. Now, of course, also, he's doing this because this is Reaper Expand. Single gas expand coming out of Maru. He's trying to play greedy, so you don't have... I mean, the command center would coming down much earlier. Yeah, you're right. He's going to be totally fine now. We have 1 Reaper on the map. It's going to go up to 3. Or excuse me, 2 Reapers. It's going to go up to 3. And that's 2-shot potential, right, on a lot of things. So for now, he's going to get this 1 scouting SCV, denying vision. And honestly, 2 Reapers right now doesn't really tell Maru all that much. It's the 3rd Reaper that would be the big tell there. And, you know, we don't have that. Maru didn't see that. So Maru, he's going to have to play in the dark for just a little bit longer.
It depends a little bit on the timing. Mm-hmm. The thing is, the angle they came from, you would expect it maybe to be rallied, but I don't know that Maru would be able to identify it right down to the exact second on Ancient Cistern. If he had seen it when it was coming across the map with the first SCV, then he would have figured it out. But as it stands, he might not have been able to. Regardless, GuMiho didn't go for a huge commitment off this. It was just those 3 Reapers. He did only get the single gas, and he is going for what is going to be a quick Cyclone behind this. And I wonder what he's going to do with that second barracks, or if it's just going to sit idly for a minute. I think at the very least he'll prioritize the Cyclone, and then he'll maybe a tech lab here. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. So maybe like a 2-on-1 behind this type of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is interesting that we're seeing GuMiho not put his Reapers on the other side of the map at all. And I mean, you call it a defensive 2 racks for a reason. but it does have aggressive opportunities. You can run across. You can, I mean, in 2 shots of SCVs, if you want to run into the main at like 5 minutes, that can be really nice. But even more than that, you know, you can put pressure on. So for now, GuMiho is going to run across the map here, and he's going to try to dive into the natural. But Maru has more than enough, right? He's got Hellions, he's got Marines, he should be fine. But hey, you play on the edge of the mineral line. That's going to be one dead worker. He's going to get a second, commits forward. Does he get the third? He does. And now into the main base. Last shot, though, denies the scout.
Yes, and that was funny. I was wondering if it would give vision up to the high ground. It did not, because it apparently did not cross the threshold. So GuMiho does not have vision of the high ground. But it has like this weird little segment. Like if you look at the mini map from his vision, it just looks very funny. That's the first time I think I've seen something like that, where it would be the first bit of vision. It just, if you look at the shape on a mini map, it looks funky. It's kind of hard to tell with the actual screen, but yeah, if anyone can see it at home, you'll validate me, I'm sure. It's
a little
behind this though. GuMiho played super greedy. Fast third CC, very fast double engineering bay, and once again, minimal Ravens. This time it is a Raven, but it's only the one. It's no Viking production. He is going for that very quick bio transition.
Yeah, and this is a fast stim too. So certainly that is something that you have access to. Reaper goes to the main base though. Great scout there. Sees the tech lab researching, and that's like really nice for Maru. Maru though, okay, he's pumping down double Vikings, double Liberators behind this.
Oh, well, he's got the read. He knows that the starport is not going to be bumping Vikings, so he knows that he will have air superiority because there is no Viking production from his opponent. So Maru's going to take advantage of that. And GuMiho, a great scan if he saw those Liberators pop out. As it stands, he's not going to know about it. Now, Stim, of course, will be done, and there is going to be a single Raven. There's going to be a single Cyclone. But if Maru can kind of sneak into a good position, those Liberators are going to be a real hassle to deal with for GuMiho. Maru, by the way, did not see the third command center done. The scout actually missed it because it was so far in the right side corner. So just kind of a funny situation right there. So he might not realize that his opponent's already landed the third command center. Regardless, this, I wonder what the Liberators are. Oh, he's actually going to use them for harassment.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, if I'm a Maru fan, I'm a little afraid of this move out from GuMiho. It's 25 Marines to 9. He has Stim. Combat Shield is not going to be ready for this first move out, but if you can find the right position or there's a tank exposed, and
yeah, if he just drops a single interference matrix on this tank, like, and GuMiho will see that there's only the one tank covering this position. Otherwise, his Marine would have died a lot faster. Now the Liberators are going to be a nuisance to deal with.
Marines are in position though.
Yeah, 1-1's about to complete here for GuMiho. If he just dropped the hammer and went for it, like, this gets really scary for Maru.
Yeah, this seems really doable. Okay, there we go. There's the scan. He sees the tank, sees the Ravens, drops the disable. The tank doesn't get to unsiege. And now with 1-1, combat shield's not done yet. Auto turrets get spammed, but Steadfast, they have no HP. We see the nerf in action right now. Everything is falling down, but the tank sieges up in just enough time. GuMiho picks up, runs away, but still really solid play here for the Talterran. Oh, maybe not this.
If he had waited for combat shield or hadn't run in before that interference matrix connected on the tank, he would have actually gotten so much more done than he just did. But he kind of rushed it a little bit unnecessarily, and he doesn't get it went pretty well. Like, he traded, he killed one of his opponent's Ravens, but he did lose his own, and he killed the tank. But that was a lot of army. He could have gotten potentially even more if he had just queued things up a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, even still, it was fine. He gets a tank, forces a lift, gets actually 2 Ravens, which is really nice. But you talked about this. The Hellions from early on in the game are going to show on up, but GuMiho's handling this pretty well for the most part. He loses a couple SCVs, but Marines and tanks are going to force them away for the moment. And they sieged up position. Is really nice, but you don't want to lose the medevac. You lose the healing there. That's a little bit unfortunate. But look at that. Look at our production tab right now. Maru has, he's forgotten his armory. It's so
it's just
slow.
about to finish. Yeah.
This 2-2 timing is going to be a chasm that Maru has to fight into.
Yes. I do like, by the way, that Maru has gotten some value with these Hellions from the early game. That's really nifty. Very well done from Maru. And GuMiho is going to lose another couple of SCVs. Good job from Maru. He's got a great job from Maru. He gets 4 SCVs. Can he get a 5th? No, not quite. But 4 SCVs with, you know, basically throwaway units at this point. That's quite nice. That's something he's going to be happy about. Oh, GuMiho does spot these medevacs, but he's not going to try and punish.
Oh, great scan from Maru there.
Yeah, doesn't get baited into the tanks. That was a really cute little ambush that GuMiho set up.
Now, as we take stock of this game, right? Yes, GuMiho was down 10 workers briefly. Now he's down 4. But I think the big things are, first of all, Chasm on 2-2. It's like a solid 60, 70 seconds at this point. Is okay, well, GuMiho unsieged here a little bit. He's going to try to siege up now, and well, Maru's going to have to back up. Anyways, the other thing on top of this heavy upgrade lead that GuMiho has, his 4th base is up. His planetary is done on location, and Maru's 4th base is not even done yet. It's not even ready to float on over. So GuMiho owns more of the map. His economy, even if he's down 1 worker now, it's really largely irrelevant. Because he has more bases to mine from, his economy is doing much, much better here. He's going to have such a powerful timing if he can take the fight away from the tanks, or if he wants to start multitasking, something like that. These Marines are going to be oh so powerful, but he does have to start +3 armor. He's kind of delaying that for the moment.
Yeah, he's a little bit tight on gas right now. We did get that second factory rather quickly. He started up the +2 attack right away, which is great. But it is obviously important to, there we go. He finishes up, gets to 250 gas. That was his next expenditure. There is always a little bit of a decision of what you go for next, but I think those upgrades are they're so important. Yeah. Speaking of what you go for next, Maru, double starport Raven transition. He's got a couple of Vikings here. GuMiho is adding on 3 more barracks. He didn't go straight up into the +1 vehicle weapons. It's about to finish pretty soon, but his +2 vehicle weapons won't be the fastest here. Still, this is... I mean, with Maru's setup, Maru took a delayed 4th base. He's really buttoning himself up tight. He does not want to get caught out here.
This is one of these interesting things that we see how players play against Maru. Because Maru's the king of really ultra positional Raven, Viking, tank, late game TVT. Like,
yes,
I don't know that there's anyone better consistently in the world. Maybe Oliveira on his best days is a big drop, finds his way in. 1 medevac will fall down here. It's 2-2 versus 2-2. The timing is not there. The chasm is ended. It's a trade for GuMiho, sure, but he's not really finding all that much, but it's time, it's opportunity. Sieging up onto the high ground, onto the third. The tanks are not sieged here, so GuMiho gets right on top. Vikings land as well, and this 3rd base is in a bit of a pickle. Marines, they're not doing anything. They're falling down. Liberators on the other side for Maru are fantastic, but Steadfast, this seems like he's got to get a lot of workers. It seems like this command center might just fall down, but Maru retreats for now. And GuMiho a little bit waffling on those Marines, to be honest. He could have dove into the middle line, killed 20 workers instead of 13, dove onto the command center, retreated back on the, cycled back onto the army, but instead he gets a little bit of everything. And despite how nice that trade looked for GuMiho, I mean, look at the supply right now. Maru's up 20.
Yeah, that was an excellent defense from Maru. You could see he caught that quadruple drop into natural late, but he got his units back in position, kept that from being too big of a problem. GuMiho smartly used it as an opportunity to reposition his tanks, but Maru didn't panic. He got his Liberators into position. He was able to manage that quite well. GuMiho, of course, could have done a little bit more, a lot more potentially. Oh, but Maru with a great counterattack is going to find the 5th command center. Just like that, he says, triple drop, quadruple drop. That's a great idea. Let me do that back to you. Yeah, woefully out of position here. Now, +2 mech is under threat. Yeah, Maru absolutely targeted that one down. So the tanks are not going to be as good. You cannot, you don't one-shot stim Marines. It's not going to happen for quite a while now. And Maru, he's got the pick of a litter, figure out what he wants to get. It's add-ons, it's tech lab, it's reactors. It's to make sure that whatever GuMiho makes is going to come out a little bit slower, come out a little bit less tech heavy. So 10 workers dead, a base dead, +2 attack now denied. And GuMiho, a lot of the tempo that he's been able to build this game, a lot of the timing, a lot of these opportunities, it's quite simply Steadfast, it's not there anymore. No, and when you don't have the tempo, that's, first of all, it's tricky in any game, but it's so much worse in a TVT where your opponent has Viking air superiority, where they've got the ability to use those Liberators, where they've got those Ravens that are so good in these types of situations. Maru really put in a really putting an exclamation point on this game. And it is important to note as well, he delayed his 3-3 on purpose in order to get up into those Ravens more quickly. And the timing that GuMiho will have where he has that upgrade advantage for 3-3 is disappearing. And GuMiho still hasn't rebuilt his armory. So he hasn't gotten into +2 vehicle weapons. So Maru's tanks are going to be far superior in these fights.
That they will. I mean, maybe GuMiho finds it. Oh, I love this high ground siege.
No, GuMiho, no, it's a disaster.
He had no idea whatsoever.
Oh,
that's 40 supply in the blink of an eye, and there's no counter on this. GuMiho thought about going topside. He thought he may, okay, maybe Maru's army's bottom. There are like 5-6 tanks there. Even without +2, that is not going to work out for you. And now +1 armor on the way. Maru, he already rules the skies. It's 10 Vikings to 1. He's got some Liberators as well as this Raven transition. This is you might look at the supplies and say, hey, you know, this game is very even. This is rapidly moving into a situation that it is going to be, I'm not going to say impossible, but oh, so difficult for GuMiho to find his way back into. He just doesn't have the tech. That's so cool. That is so cool.
If you can't beat your opponent's Ravens with your Ravens, what can you do? You can knock the energy out, and you can go for that. We are going to see a drop into the main base. Only one siege tank gets out here of that initial medevac. The missile turrets actually weren't enough to prevent this. And there's actually, this is going to be a little difficult to deal with. We will see the +1 vehicle plating getting denied, as well as the kind of superfluous upgrades from the engineering bays. But even then, the high-sec auto-tracking will complete, which ironically, if that were done before, would have helped a little bit to prevent this drop. But Maru will clean this up.
I mean,
and it doesn't get the crippling damage that I think GuMiho wanted it to get.
Now, in fairness, though, knocking down building armor like that is actually fairly nice. It does mean that GuMiho,
it's helpful, yeah.
He's got a little bit more of a timing when he can go and get damage done. And also, 2 medevacs on the top side, or 3 medevacs. One of them still has units. He can return and get a little bit more damage done. I think Maru thinks he cleaned that up. And, well, that's going to be rather interesting.
Actually, but look, because he's got Vikings that can just kill it off.
Yeah.
Ooh, big move through the middle of the map. There's only 2 tanks here for Maru, but there's another one behind this. GuMiho just trying to deny what looks like a 6th base. And GuMiho did get back into the main base. He will be able to deny +1 ship weapons, which actually could be a pretty high impact play here. Maru, he will get on top of this and he will clean it up. Oh, GuMiho actually, oh, well, that was cute. He left the other medevacs up to maybe pick up those units. Behind us, Maru's going for BCs.
Yeah, this is actually so nice. I mean, it is 3-3 Marines, but I mean, Marines don't do all that well against battle cruisers, as we saw in previous series. And, you know, Ghosts are great steadfast, but battle cruisers are, these tanks in range. They're down upgrades. That's not great.
Yeah, he scanned that siege tank and said, let me walk 2 tanks into it. Maru, of course, helped win this fight by the 1 tank on the top side, but I think this 1 tank would have won the fight on its own. So that's a little bit funky from GuMiho. GuMiho is mass expanding, though. We do have to mention that. But, and actually, it is a really big deal that he denied those 2 armories because you know, the BCs would have been on 1-1 by now, getting into 2-2. And I mean, if the Marines are 3-3 and the BCs have no upgrades, the Marines deal with them pretty well.
Okay, so first of all, I think he just thought that the scan was, you know, was going to end out in time, so he's going to be able to make that happen. But look at what we have on the production tab. GuMiho finally transitioning into air, but there is a nuke on the way. Personal cloaking is already done. We're looking at 4 ghosts on the field right now.
Ooh, scan comes down, sees one.
That's actually such a big scout. But I mean, even still, are you going to be expecting Maru to be dropping or expecting GuMiho to be dropping a nuke? I don't think so.
No, you certainly wouldn't. Where did those BCs just go? Oh, they teleport in.
That was a big attempt there. Look at how so much supply is lacking, but still GuMiho finds his way into the natural. He's gonna find the starports. This is gonna be at least 1 canceled battle cruiser here, and that's more damage. Meanwhile, nuke on the north side is gonna start to go down. We're gonna take a look at that one in a second. Maru reacting to it though, so it's not gonna get all that much, but he gets an orbital into the natural. There are more armories there if that's what he wants, and the ghosts are killing tanks. The nuke actually gets the tank at the end, and GuMiho into the main base here. Armor shredder, anti-armor missile is a problem. This is going to be another dead orbital, and the anti-armor missile is going to time out in just a second. More dead starports.
Oh my god.
These Marines will fall, but this is such a big move coming out of GuMiho right now. Is there a starport on the map for Maru?
I was trying to check the production tab. It's tricky to see, but there is not.
There's one.
There's one. one. It is a reactor starport. The thing is, GuMiho did throw away a lot. Oh my god, the high-tech auto
He's in range.
reaches the siege tanks. That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to lose siege tanks to a planetary.
No, it's really not. And the other thing we have to talk about here is GuMiho has been trading far worse than Maru. Now, on the gas count, okay, it's worse on the gas count as well. But Maru, at this point, has been able to equalize the base count that GuMiho has. Now, until this point, this base is going to go down. There really is, even with anti-art or with building armor, there's not going to be anything in time to save this. So as long as GuMiho can keep himself up a base, the trading is fine, right? But if Maru is going to be able to take these couple extra bases that by all rights should be his, then we start to run into a problem. But for now, GuMiho, he's marauding around the map. He's killing bases. He's killed like 4 orbitals at this point. And now look at this. So he's moving into Ravens. And Ravens against battlecruisers, they're not bad. His battlecruisers can't shoot.
Yep. Now, if you get the teleport off beforehand, of course, the battlecruiser still teleports through. The interference matrix does persist, but it comes down to the timing a lot. Ooh, this army on the right side almost getting spotted here. Sensor towers are completely covering the map right now. The ghosts... God, this is such a funny little setup. You know that GuMiho is hoping to catch the Ravens in transition, and EMP in the middle of the map. We're going to be trying to pay attention and watch for that. There's a lot of action happening all over the map, but another nuke coming on down. This game is wild here.
Oh, I'm so happy. What a game. Jeez, GuMiho's falling victim to high sec, but finally, he found the right opportunity. Vikings move forward here. Are there any ghosts? I don't see any at the moment. In fact, there's not a lot of GuMiho's army on this top side, but look at what he's setting up here. This big scan, he knows what's happening. A lot of Ravens are going to go down, but GuMiho, he drops the disable on the battlecruisers. This is the fight he's going to want right now. Only one tank available to fire on the left side, one on the right. EMPs, he gets them all, and actually there's no healing on the medevacs as well, so these Marines are not all that useful. Chase them down, GuMiho, find what you can.
The snipes on the Marines from the Ghost is hilarious. Such a cool little maneuver here. This game is bonkers, but Maru will escape with his Sky Fleet to the top left. He's going to try and zoom over to this corner, and he actually finds a good position. Marines can't really get close to this because of where this army is set up. Now, we do have +1 ship weapons. It's about to be 2-1 air upgrades, which is going to be a big power increase for these BCs, and, well, for these BCs. Meanwhile, Siege Tank in the middle is 3 Siege Tanks just kind of walked right up to this. Oh, BCs are going to teleport back home.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That's very dangerous. Now that he knows that those have used their teleport, that's a pretty big deal. We got 3 more BCs about to pop out. Maru really wants to go for this late game BC transition. Oh my god, these units, no, you cannot let them out.
There's
GuMiho.
Oh, there we go. Okay, target them all down. He's gonna get so much here. They do have armor, so they're a little... Oh, he's going over the Marines again! He had a clean egress on the right side, but he's not gonna find it now. That was so expensive. And by the way, that base we were looking at the bottom side, that one hero tank killed it, got bunches of damage on the, what do we want to call that? The 5 o'clock base as well, dropping the main base. That orbital on the north side will fall. More orbitals are falling, and GuMiho, yes, these 2-1 battle cruisers with 4 more on the way are a terrifying composition, Steadfast. And actually, somehow, Maru is mining more than GuMiho, despite all the economic damage that has happened. But GuMiho is starting to constrict the map, and I don't know how much longer the economic lead is going to happen.
Yeah, it is going to be wild. We do see the BCs teleporting in to the right side to try and support this army. There are 7 of them now. No 3-2 upgrades for the BCs. So the Marines are still going to do well. But if he ever gets up to 3-2 upgrades on those BCs, there's going to be a really big problem for GuMiho. Both players are not that high on the worker count, but they are massively... Oh my god, he saved this base on the top side. That's pretty big.
Wow, it was like at 5 HP burn. It was so low burning into the dead airspace. It did not feel savable. But anyway, GuMiho's going to stim on top of this. Tanks are not in position. This should be a dead base. Snipes on SCVs to deny the repair. And the base is going to try to stay alive as long as it can, but it seems destined to fall. So GuMiho doesn't commit a ton to that, but he doesn't have a lot of money behind this. No bank, really. Mining 1,600 minerals a minute. He's down below 170 supply, and the battlecruiser is marauding on forward. Anti-armor missile is going to be really nice here. And GuMiho taps out, though. He can't take the fight against the late-game Sky Toss anymore. Steadfast, we're 1-1 here, but what a hell of a game.
This was a wild game. This was a wild game from both players. I mean, GuMiho, if he could have seen what we saw after he found a fair bit of damage, I don't think he would have been so hard pressed to make the moves that he did in the last maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes of the game even. But Maru, that is the pressure he exerts. He gets closer and closer to that ideal Terran army. Mass tank, Ravens, Vikings, BCs, and GuMiho. He was getting some really good work done, but it wasn't enough to crack Maru. Maru shows once again why he is such a defensive master. I really felt like GuMiho was starting to get it done there.
You trap the army, okay? A lot of Ravens went down. A lot of Vikings went down. You start to knock bases down. One tank on the bottom side kills a planetary, gets heavy damage on another. GuMiho canceled the top side base. You're like, wow, this seems really doable, even if you are down in tech quite a bit. Even the Ravens are starting to get added in. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's 14-2-1 battlecruisers, and you add some anti-armor missiles on top of that one. The Marines couldn't fight. And, especially with building armor with high-tech auto-tracking, running into those sieged up positions, GuMiho, he had to give up the ghost. His economy was not there. And you talked about it. GuMiho did not redevelop his economy. He had orbitals fine. He had bases fine, but he's only in like 59 SCVs. He wasn't able to build up that bank that you would really want to find. So now we move into game number 3. It's Dragon Scales. We had some awesome games. Let's see if we get some more. And in the upper left, in the red here, playing a fantastic first 2 games and tying it up at 1 apiece, GuMiho.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right, showing some powerful defensive prowess. For Onside Gaming, it is Maru. What a stunning showing from both players right there. Really pushing each other to the limit. Maru, there were a few times where there was attacks that were coming in that would have killed any other player. Would have killed pretty much any other player. But he survived. He survived. He dealt with them. He was able to, not just deal with them, but really just perform immaculately well as we follow this SCV of Maru through the middle of the map.
Yeah, so we've seen some aggression, right? We've seen some interesting builds from GuMiho in the first 2. This time, Barracks Double Gas Factory once again. But Maru, we see the Reaper expand. He's so confident here that he can handle what he has to that, hey, might as well go greedy, right? If we see what happens, you take it late.
Yeah, it's a toughie. It is tough, but it is going to be Maru who gets away with 1 Rax expand. It is going to be GuMiho who goes once again gas first, double gas. The much faster factory setup here. And on Dragon Scales with this ramp at the natural, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to try and get any equalizing damage. It's going to be really tough for GuMiho here. Maru does start up a bunker, just wants to be safe. Wise decision. Man, I actually just can't get over the fact that we just had a game like that.
Yeah, and imagine that this game that we had, right? GuMiho goes to deal with the Ravens. Really smart decision given the game state he was in. Imagine this was 3 years ago. When was the last time the battlecruisers had energy? I can't anyway.
It's been a long time.
Has it really been that long?
A really long time.
Anyway, shows how long StarCraft's been around. Maybe that's not worth talking about, but man, imagine if
he could have EMP'd the BCs. Yeah, that would have been really cool. Funnily enough, it was actually a change for TVP or PVT. They were like, oh, High Templar are way too good against this, which was a pretty valid statement. High Templar did very well against battlecruisers, which is funny. Ultimately, battlecruisers, the Ravens do well against them, but they are extremely powerful units if you can get up to them. And Maru, the funny part is he actually didn't do anything amazing with them per se, but which is to say, he didn't crack the game wide open with them, but they seemed to really make GuMiho feel like he had to do something. By the way, GuMiho's been going Banshees.
I love this.
This is pretty wild.
This is oh man, what a GuMiho play. Now the problem is technically Maru scouts this, but how many people
thinking it's close?
Yeah, like how many people are going to look at this and say, Hyperflight Banshees? Clearly, that's what we're going to see in a TVT.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. GuMiho coming in once again with another very cool prepared build going into this series. We are going to see a little skirmish. Hellion. Oh, nice usage of the Reaper in the shrubs, but Maru will be able to get in there and will be able to get the pick off, dodge the grenade as well, which is obviously quite nice. But this is going to be battle mech, I think, with the addition of, or actually, is it going to be regular mech? We'll see. At the very least, he's going to open up with a very quick second factory. This is a really interesting play. Oh my God, and a quick second starport. Hello?
Oh, this is two factory. I feel like I've seen this once out of GuMiho, where it turns into an all-in off this, right? You get a lot of Banshees. Hyperflight gives you a lot of mobility to crack tanks and things like that, and then you have two factories, or you go to a double starport right off of that, and you have the factories on the ground to just have that extra pushing pressure, and it's really cool. And Maru, he's got his own ideas. I mean, yeah, it's 3CC play. That's somewhat standard. Getting 2 extra barracks, fine. But hiding them behind the mineral line like that kind of means he wants to tell a different story. He's just going to dive on top of the Cyclones here. One will fall, and they're not good lock. Well, that auto turret actually does so much here. One gets out. I was going to say the lock-ons aren't great, right?
Does it?
It should, right? Yeah, it's out. Unless the Vikings on the way.
There's a Viking. Yeah. And he's trapped. He can't escape.
No.
That is really bad.
Oh, it's so
for
bad.
GuMiho. He reveals this. And he kills one Cyclone with it. That is very bad. That is really not what you want. He did get a couple of auto turrets out. GuMiho, though, is building a 3rd command center during all this. The scan comes down. It sees a reactored starport and a factory. Doesn't see the second factory. Doesn't see the second starport. GuMiho, this is straight up wild.
Yeah, it looks like the Banshee did finally fall.
Oh, yeah. I moved away from it because it was trapped. There was literally no way it could escape.
No way. It's good to know the timing, I guess. You know, we can mark time of death. But yeah, I mean...
Wait, hang on. He did lose it. He did lose it. I was like, wait, this isn't that Banshee, is it? Oh, I'm not a liar. No, this is in fact a 3rd Banshee because GuMiho's continuing to produce them. He didn't even make Cloak.
No, but he's building more Banshees. He's building Vikings as well. I was convinced this was going to be like a double factory, double starport all in, right? Banshees in the air, maybe add Vikings as well. Clearly he's doing.
That's what I was thinking too, is I thought this was going to be an all in for sure.
But, I mean, he's not right now, at least. He's got tank shots. Don't want to eat those. So Cyclones, it's a scout. Doesn't really get all that much. But, I mean, you can scan and that gets everything. Does the second scan for Maru, does it actually... Okay, I didn't see. Did it get... It still doesn't have it. He still doesn't know what's happening right now. He sees the extra tech lab that is not being used, but he doesn't see the second factory, doesn't see the second starport. Now, 3 Vikings on the way at a time here. So we look at the Viking count. Right now, it is in Maru's favor. It's 4-6. But very quickly, that is going to change. And if you have air dominance, the Vikings can allow you to crack tanks, crack a position wide open.
The thing that's really funny about this is that GuMiho... Okay, we see a scan coming down at the 3rd base, sees the gases are taking, sees a Viking crossing the map. GuMiho is going to have the Banshees almost acting as more mobile liberators right here. The purpose of them is going to be able to try and deal with and push these tanks away. Oh, this siege position is very scary, but we do see a lot of interference Banshees coming on in. 3 siege tanks getting disabled right there. The Vikings are going to be able to win the air war for Maru, but the tanks of GuMiho, they're going to wake back up in a second. Nice scan right there. There's the Viking land, bombing it on top of these units. Maru will... Oh, hello? Maru, that was way too early. That actually just cost him like multiple SCVs. And the Cyclone at the 3rd base, they're actually finding some good value too.
Yeah, I want to point out there, as everything ran in, there were a couple tanks that were not knocked down.
Nice
trying to chase it down, not going to work. The couple tanks that were unsieged, or that were able to still fire, that were not shut down, one of them got a target on almost all the Marines that were clumped up.
Yes.
They all were low, and every single Marine died in the blink of an eye. GuMiho says to Maru, hey, you know what? You went battle cruisers in game 2. That was cute. All right, that was nice. Let me show you how it's really done. The king of battlecruisers back on the map. Third starport, adding in the fusion core. Steadfast, you thought game 2 was fun? Buckle up.
I am buckled in. I'm ready for this one. We see a scan at the third base, sees the 4th command center. Scan coming in from GuMiho. Will spot a small little group of units coming across the map. We do have 1-1 done, by the way, for Maru. He also added on combat shields and concussive at the same time. So his Marauders are going to be handy against mech units, but
I mean,
they are not going to do jack diddly against BCs. You cannot turn Marauders on their back. You cannot shoot up into the air. That's not an option. And the first 2 BCs are in production as well as the double armory. But can Maru get something done before those BCs are out?
I'm a little worried. GuMiho's got 3 command centers on the way. He's got everything else at the Raven. That is massive. Down. Raven gets targeted down, and now it's going to be so hard to breach the high ground, even with these Marauders here. Mark can't break this anymore. There is really no way. The Banshee cracking the tanks as well. I was about to say, man, I'm so worried for GuMiho right now. He's been so greedy. But you knock the Raven up. Okay, Banshee will fall. Don't want to lose that. But because he got that Raven, now there's no base cracking opportunities. And what a scout, though. The Liberator into the main. And actually, the Liberator in the third is going to get damage done. But the Liberator in the main sees the fusion core, sees the fusion core. That's the big thing. Maru's going to be able to realize that this is going to be battlecruiser play with the number of starports there are. There really is no other option. How does he choose to respond now?
That's a good question. He's adding on a second starport. He's building more and more Vikings. GuMiho did get discombobulated a lot by those Liberators. And we see that GuMiho is, his mining is a little bit somewhat in shambles right now. It's not horrible, but it has been discombobulated a fair bit. The drop into the main did get blocked, so that's important. But if GuMiho can survive the next little bits, actually, he is in a really uncomfortable position, that is for sure. Maru, 4th base is done. He's going to be ready to mine from that pretty soon. Maru has an opportunity to definitely get some more value before the BCs are out in force.
So 2 of them are out right now. They're on the bottom right side. They teleported over, I think. And
they did, yes.
I think, yeah, they did. I think what we're seeing here from GuMiho is he's waiting for them to have the ability to jump back home.
Yeah.
And also, he wants Maru to commit a little bit. That being said, it's uncomfortable for GuMiho right now, absolutely. But he's gonna have like 7 orbitals, so you give him just a little time.
Exactly.
And okay, so
he can't.
Did he cancel?
Oh my God, he's stopping the BC transition. He was scouted and he's going. He actually switched back into mech upgrades. He stopped the air transition. Okay.
That's super interesting, right? So the battlecruisers, so they show up in the main, they're going to get some damage done. And now Maru, his response, he's building a lot of Vikings. Okay, building some Ravens as well. Maybe that makes sense. But GuMiho, and again, he's going to teleport home. Actually doesn't lose any of these, but doesn't get that much done. The point is, GuMiho has... he canceled the starports too. I thought he was going up above 3. I was going to say that, GuMiho has more Viking production, so he should win the fight in the air. And then, obviously have that mech on the ground, but it's 3 starports to 3, and he doesn't have he's not going to have +1 air, so...
Oh, no.
Maru's kind of got him in checkmate here. Well, not checkmate, but it's going towards mate.
It's looking very uncomfortable for GuMiho right now. It is looking extremely awkward. GuMiho is still gearing up for a potential Doom drop. He built a bunch of turrets in a natural, one of which blocked the factory, by the way.
GuMiho? He's building another battle cruiser. He's got 1-1 air on the way.
Okay, he's going back into it now. He's going to lose this orbital on the bottom side. Didn't see this army coming for Maru. And that's very unfortunate for him. You don't want to just lose orbitals, command centers. That's very expensive. GuMiho, if he does lower this depot, he can get this siege tank out now that he's mined out this 1 mineral patch. That's kind of funny. He unblocked it by mining its way out, but I'm gonna be fixating on this tank until he fixes it. It's gonna bug me.
He's gonna tilt Steadfast out of this entire tournament. But going for +1 air and then canceling it and doing what he's doing, he's just gonna have an upgrade disadvantage in this Viking war. And as you commit to air, the air fight's the only thing that matters. That being said, by stopping on the battlecruiser production for a while, by really committing to this Viking pressure, GuMiho is up 4 Vikings. He's going to be able to go up even more. He will maintain air superiority for quite a while. But this battle crew, these these Vikings are perfectly placed, and if the shutdowns are going to be able to go out in time, I mean, these battle cruisers are not going to be able to escape. So GuMiho, he sees that he's been scouted. He's going to run away. And I was going to say just teleport back home, but it seems like Maru doesn't want to commit too hard. And what are these Vikings doing in the middle of the map? One will fall.
They just killed 3 Ravens.
Okay, well, there we go. Never mind.
That's pretty good. These players are really baiting each other's attention very effectively. This is super cool to see. And super cool to see how they approach each other. Interference matrices. Oh, he does double up on the 1BC. Will grab it. But could have potentially gotten even a couple of more. Still, Maru's got a massive air fleet. GuMiho does have more Vikings, but with the Ravens, with anti-armor missile, with interference matrices, this could get very scary. And now we've got a bit of a conundrum here for GuMiho. He is going to lose this base in the top left. Maru.
Oh, Ravens.
Oh, he's going to lose a couple of rallied Ravens. That's not what you want.
And that auto turret's going to not do anything. We're in a bit of a base trade now, right? Maru, first mover's advantage. He's got bio. Technically, this is good for him. But if GuMiho can start to find his way, yeah, there we go. Beeline into the main base here, GuMiho. We see panic missile turrets going down because Maru knows he has to defend his air production. Otherwise, this is such a problem. Ravens go down and tanks into the main base very quickly here. Now, GuMiho is going to lose this production. He's going to lose a lot. The bio is here already. But if he can equalize and if he can dominate the air battle, maybe that is going to be the play. So now here he is, right in the main base. He's got 1-1. He's not going to have any 2-2 upgrades. That does get canceled down. And at this point, Steadfast, can GuMiho get enough damage done to make this worthwhile? Maru, his buildings are everywhere. He's not going to win in a pure base trade. He has to find some way to do something. And this is actually a pretty solid seized up position in the natural in the third.
Yeah, I really like the... If GuMiho can find a way to hold on to his 2 bases, I really like that for him. Maru, of course, he has all of his units on the top left. Orbitals have been massively killed off here, but Maru is more spread out in general. Oh, +3 weapons is going to complete. That is actually really nice. Somehow GuMiho built an engineering bay and a missile. He's building missile turrets on his opponent's side of the map. Your base now belong to us, says GuMiho. What is this game? What is this series?
GuMiho's Spirit was a fantastic TVT, especially game 4. But in terms of pure shock and awe value, in terms of shenanigans and everything else, you love this. Maru, though, he built up a couple more starports. So he's sitting at 4 right now. GuMiho only has the 1. But GuMiho pretty ahead in supply right now. He's up a couple workers. Importantly, big army. And even more important than that, it's 25 Vikings to 17. The Raven count, it's 5. It's solid, but it's not quite where Maru would like to be. And you add the battle cruisers in on top of that. Are they 2-1? No. But they are 1-1. They are really nice. And Maru has to find a good angle for this fight. The battle cruise is a little far forward, but GuMiho, he gets scanned. He sees what's happening here. Vikings move forward. He trades 1 for 1, I assume, but it's all the bases for Maru. All the bases are now belong to GuMiho.
Yes, this is really uncomfortable, and GuMiho did hold these bases. The only thing about that is that, well, actually, you need to switch his saturation. Needs to fix that a little bit. Okay, we are going to see an attack coming in from Maru. This time he does have the Ravens with us. We'll be able to disable quite a few of these tanks. Needs to disable the backline tanks here. But he does manage to do so. Orbitals are going to fall, and GuMiho's got no defenses here for this.
He's
coming back home with his tank Viking.
Oh, so he's going to get the fight right now. Tank siege up. Vikings land. This is, never mind.
Oh. GuMiho, not like this. Every single tank was just unsieged, and Maru massacres GuMiho's mech army. And now it is the Vikings running for their lives, flying for their lives. But Maru is looking to pincer and trap, push them into the waiting arms of the missile turrets. GuMiho has no way out. He does snipe down a Raven. That's nice. And he's going to be able to trade against the Vikings, but he lost all of his tanks. Maru will take game number 3. What a showing from Maru.
Oh, man, what a... Granted, Maru won. Absolutely. Well played by Maru, but what a cool game we had. All over the place, back and forth. I was really convinced GuMiho had a shot there until the very last second, but Maru sniffed out that GuMiho was not interested in continuing the base trade. Very easily, GuMiho could have gone bottom left. I think Pretty sure GuMiho knew that the starports were there. He could have gone up a right, continued to chase bases, but instead, GuMiho makes the decision that he can't afford to lose that mining setup that he had. Not anymore. He had to go back. And Maru just sits there. He moves forward. He breaks the tanks a little bit, but he noticed his positioning. He was prepared for that move. He was prepared for the angle that GuMiho ran through, and then he shut down all the tanks. It doesn't matter if they're sieged or unsieged. They cannot fire. And Maru, massive fight there, knocks everything down, and now Maru's 1 game away from making it to the playoffs. 1 game away from the round of 8. GuMiho, though, he's not out of this series. He has shown us definitely that he has opportunities, that he can hang with the king of TVT.
Yes, he has definitely done some really cool stuff, but I have got to say, I am so... Every time I think like, oh man, Maru's really good, I'm like, no, that's not enough. Maru is so great. Yes. He is so unreal great. Like, GuMiho really threw so much wildness at him there, and Maru just reacted to all of it so well. He was able to split up his army very effectively. During that base trade, he went for the counterattacks to the right side at the right time. Just such cool stuff. I am just so thoroughly impressed with how Maru dealt with the absolute madness that GuMiho threw at him.
And I can't... Okay, you talk about throwing a lot of madness, and that should have been hard for Maru. On the flip side, I can't help but feel that GuMiho kind of outthought himself in that game number 3, right? He went battle cruisers. It actually felt fairly solid, and then he realizes that he scouted, so he says, okay, fine, I'm just not going to go for it anymore. But then he recommits, but he's down upgrades, and you know what they say, right? It's sometimes a okay strat, or sometimes a bad strat executed or committed to is better than a good idea that you don't commit to all that well. And I feel like that was the situation. There's still GuMiho had an opportunity to win that game. It was hard, but he had an opportunity. And now we move into Neo Humanity. It's map number 4. Let's see if GuMiho can make it happen, or Maru is going to be the one that moves his way into the playoffs. But for now, on the bottom side, perhaps for the last time, in the red, GuMiho.
And his opponent, spawning up at the top left for Onside Gaming. Give it up for Maru. And Maru, he's just going to get away with 1 Rax expand again. He's going to do it again. GuMiho once more has opened up with this double gas opener. No one is proxying Maru, and Maru is just like, he's just running to the bank like, twinkle toes, he, just absolutely laughing his way to the bank with these 1 Rax expands.
Yeah, it's working out for him. Although, in fairness, the last 2 games have not been decided by the 1 Rax expand, have not been decided by really anything in the first 5 minutes. It's all been these late games, these mind games, and all these shenanigans, everything else. So, yeah, Maru's finding minor advantages, and if I'm a Terran player, certainly I never want to go and run into a deficit here. But I mean, realistically, I'm not sure that Maru getting away with a little bit of greed has been the dominant story of the series. It really has been everything else. And now as we move into Neo Humanity, I love this. Look at that starport positioning, Steadfast. I was going to talk about how in this situation, right, it's Neo Humanity. There are 2 avenues into the main base. You can, actually 3 really, if we talk about the ramp and the natural. You can get Reapers in from different locations, try to dive in, maybe get some secondary damage. Well, Maru's wise to that, and he knows he's going Reaper expand. He knows he's a little vulnerable. Reaper should get out here. Nice KDA charge. So he just shuts down all openings. The one of the few opportunities that Maru might have taken some damage because of this gas first, or this early gas play played by GuMiho. Well, the starport says no. Starport says absolutely not. Or sorry, the factory. Yeah. I thought that was a starport. My bad.
Yeah. No. It's yeah. If Maru could build a starport at this timing, he would never lose a TVT. I'll commit to that. I'll say that for absolute certainty if he has starport finishing up at this timing every game.
Big game hunters
but that's I mean, it happens. We all misspeak. If I had a nickel for every time, I'd have a lot of nickels and a very upset bank. So I would be depositing those and turning them into real money.
But are any of those named Phil?
Phil, are you talking about Phil Mickelson?
No. The nickel named Phil.
Nickel named Phil. I've never heard of that.
And it's old, like one Fairly Odd Parents episode. The only reason I remember it is I'm like, I'm named after a nickel. That's great. Anyway, moving on. At this point, GuMiho has his natural down on location. Roughly similar time as Maru, but because Maru's base is faster, right? That orbital's faster, more SCVs find their way forward. And we've seen, again, it has felt like this imperative for pressure for damage has been something that GuMiho has felt over the course of this series, and we're going to see it again. Looks like 4 Marines, a tank in that medevac, and a couple Hellions as well.
Tank drop, yep.
Yeah, let's see how much he gets done.
It's so funny for him to go from one of the wildest openers I've ever seen in a TVT to one of the most, I guess, generic openers in a TVT. And Maru, he went Viking first. That is so great against this because the medevac is not going to be able to really move forward here. Now, the siege tank is, of course, going to be a nuisance, but only if it gets into a good position. And with Maru popping out his own tank, shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that timing, I was going to say, Maru doesn't have a tank, so it felt like maybe GuMiho could do something, but now the tank's out, yeah. At this point, Maru, he gets away with it. Actually, GuMiho continues to rally forward here. He seems like he wants to commit to this more than we might normally expect.
That is how he experienced a lot of success in game number 1. Maru does move his own tank further forward a little bit, and GuMiho is rallying in Vikings, so he's actually already got the air superiority now, and he's about to claim it. Oh,
he's hiding it. He doesn't want to show it yet. I mean, the moment that this happens, Maru's going to have to do something decisive, right? So he wants Maru to commit a little bit too far forward, but now he's going to try to chase in Viking damage, and that's a big shot. Medevac's hard. They're not going to happen for a while.
You can't build them.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, you can technically, but you need the air superiority. This is nice from GuMiho.
Nice scan right there from Maru. GuMiho does have the repair. Is that going to be enough? Vikings do land. The answer is no, it is not going to be enough. And GuMiho is going to lose one of the Vikings here. He might lose the second.
He will lose the second.
Oh, that just completely flipped this around.
I love the idea from GuMiho is smart, right? You run forward, you have that SCV, you get the repair, you land the Vikings to try to soak a tank shot, you break it. But instead, you lose 2 Vikings, you lose... Oh, I love this bait. But Maru is so smart here. He sees it, he scans it out, and now, well, Raven's going to try to go forward. Auto turret goes down. Tanks are going to have to run away, and GuMiho, I mean, you commit this much to something this aggressive, and it does not work. Actually, as I say that, though, dropping the main base gets a little bit more. Couple workers will fall. Actually, SCVs are just pulled against this. Vikings have to land. One gets targeted immediately. And the first bit of pressure, the tank drop didn't find much, but 6 SCVs of Viking. And now, actually, some significant lost mining time as well here. Target the last SCV, GuMiho. He's not really going to get it. That's much better. I was about to spin this narrative about how you commit this much to this early pressure and you don't get anything. That's worrisome, especially against Maru. And Maru's third base is already done, so... That's not great, but at least GuMiho found something. At least he did something here.
Yeah, and he needed that. He needed that just to kind of stay within striking distance, to stay competitive in this game. I'm not going to say to equalize, because he did not equalize. Maru is still going to be able to outproduce SCVs before that command center finishes for GuMiho. But we do have a nice little tank position in the natural, and... it'll be able to find a couple of SCVs. This might actually equalize and even put him ahead potentially. The Vikings for GuMiho are bigger in number. He's going to land them here. That's going to work out actually very well for GuMiho. He snipes the tanks and just walks back to the location. Now all of a sudden it's GuMiho who's got a bit of a chokehold on Maru.
This is real. Okay, that tank, you got to be so careful with it rallying forward, but he's going to siege it up now. And now
in a great position, too.
And the Marine goes forward, gets damage on the tank because of that vision. A second shot goes down here. And GuMiho is rapidly starting to constrict the position. Ravens get targeted here as well. GuMiho is starting to constrict the natural. It's going to be harder and harder for Maru to circulate between his natural and his third base. We're going to see both E-bays go down, so Maru will have stim. He's not going to have a lot more than that, and now he's going to go for the break here. There's one tank at the front. That seems free at the moment, and yeah, that is going to go down, gets maybe a little bit more damage, but 6 more workers have fallen, and this air superiority is steadfast. It seems, especially as GuMiho continues to commit to the Vikings, Maru's never going to be able to match this, at least not for a long time. And now with the gas dead, the E-base dead, everything in the natural dead, it's the tanks. They're starting to fire on the command center. And Maru's got to find something. I don't know what it is, but he's got to find it.
He's got stim.
True.
So maybe he can like sneak up on these tanks, but these 2 tanks have been invaluable. Maru was in such a good position after that initial cleanup, but GuMiho is really finding some incredible value with these 2 tanks. They are, I mean, they have more than equalized. They are really helping out a lot. Big stim coming on in here from Maru. He will finally clean this up. But GuMiho just put himself into a great position off the back of this play. And he is going mech once again. 4th command center before additional factories.
I love that target fire, by the way, as well. GuMiho understood that he was not going to be able to break everything, right? He wasn't going to be able to kill everything, and he probably wasn't going to get the tanks. Land Vikings? Okay, they're not going to get much. They're not going to get the Marine, I mean. But he targeted the Marines. They stemmed forward. Every single Marine went down, and what that meant was GuMiho was able to maintain position in the air. He didn't lose any Vikings. There was no threat on the Vikings. He was going to force Maru to stay down lower, and he's going to be able to retake the position once again. But Steadfast...
Oh my god, this time with Liberators.
Yeah, this time it's so much scarier. What are we looking at? It's 6 Vikings to... Well, 9 Vikings to 6. Maru did a really good job, actually, of building that Viking count back up, but it's... Oh, he gets another. Yeah, this is rough.
This is brutal right here. There is a 3rd tank actually on the watchtower. If he sets up on this base with that, that could be really strong. We actually see a Liberator finding a little bit of value on the other side. The Liberator is actually sieging the mineral line too. I was just going to say, if he can move forward, he can force the repair to stop. He might be able to snipe this with the Vikings. And at that point, things get extremely scary. But Maru very quickly pulled away from this. Ooh, the Viking. Okay, there is a lot of firepower from these Vikings, but the mass repair is going to be enough. Good job for Maru to recognize a really scary situation for that command center. And actually, with the Vikings that just popped out, Maru might... he's got an... Well, he did have an equal number of Vikings, but the target fire from GuMiho was a little bit better. Still, no, Maru is going to win the air war.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's a huge switch.
I mean, yes, Steadfast, but GuMiho continues to build the Viking count. He continues to deny mining. He kills more SCVs with the Liberator even as this gets cleared off. And I like the idea from GuMiho, right? Eventually, with Defender's advantage, even if you have more Vikings, it takes longer to run across on a map as big as Neo-Humanity. So he tried to sit on top of the starport. He tried to kill the Vikings as they popped, and he did a solid job of that. But the other side of any sort of Viking lead is the fact that, well... Eventually, if you're not repairing your Vikings, they will take damage over time. And even if you are 9 Vikings to 6, if all the Vikings are 50% HP, you can still win that fight. So Maru was able to make that happen, but GuMiho, he's on 4 bases now. He's on 82 workers to 77. Look at resources lost. It's, you know what? It's not quite as bad for GuMiho or for Maru as I thought it was, but he's still 1,000 resources in the good against the bio player. This is beautiful for GuMiho.
It is, and especially the fact that GuMiho is going to now have the actual mech production up and running. Oh my goodness, Maru scouted it. He scouted the timing of the 3 factories coming on down, and GuMiho, as the scan expires, he starts up 2 starports of his own. He's like, okay, well now you know I'm going mech. Now you've seen the information. Now I can start my own Terran transition. And they're both playing such high-level StarCraft right now. The theory of these games is so impressive.
I am absolutely in love with the the slow zone. He's gonna blow them all up. 2 Marauders survive. They send them home. Send the tale of your woe back to Maru here, and the rest of the bio they're gonna be shaking in their boots. But I'm in love with the balance patch we're on right now. Yeah, maybe TVP is an issue, but it has done so much to this matchup right now. We were not getting these TVTs 5-6 months ago.
Oh, F2? No, he was just about to siege it, and then he F2'd. Literally as it was about to siege. Oh, did he? Hello? What is he?
Oh, that's nice. Actually,
well, he gets it siege now. Okay, that's good.
And there we go. Delays the command center and gets damage on the start or on the mineral line at the same time. You'll love to see it. It'll eventually go down, but these Marauders are very marooned here. Liberator sieges up on the tank as well. GuMiho doesn't even feel the need to siege up. He just has the cavalry. They have arrived, and now This is a far better position to move into, but this is not a situation that Maru can flank. He's going to have to try to take the fight right now, and he's just not able to. The bio falling apart here. That being said, he wins the battle in the air. The Marines add just enough extra damage that Maru does break the sky, and now the vision's not there, and GuMiho, this is a scary position for him to be in, but he's not going to break through, not yet. That being said, Liberator on the bottom side. I think that was the same one from earlier, actually, that
yes,
should have died, but Maru had to deal with the fight at the front. So 11 SCVs fall. The fifth base is still delayed, and Maru, well, I love this from GuMiho. He's building missile turrets at the front. The hard contain. Bring us back to Brood War, baby. Let's go.
That is such a sick move right now. He does need it too, because it's about to be a ton of Liberators coming on in. The thing is, this will still allow Maru to break the position, I think. I don't think GuMiho is going to be able to hold this for any longer. We do see the Vikings of GuMiho. Actually, hang on. They're going to be able to kind of sit on top of the turrets. This is weird to say, but it's a concave of Vikings. The mass repair from the SCVs is going to help out a lot. GuMiho, meanwhile, he's pushing forward with just 3 tanks and a Liberator on this left side. Will get cleaned up by the Liberator of Maru. Good job. Going to be able to kill off one of these tanks. Oh, second one actually sticks around. A little bit of an oopsie right there, but another Liberator goes down, and that's allowing GuMiho to continue to hold this position while he takes a 5th base. GuMiho he's kept Maru on such a leash in this game.
It's crazy too. You're looking at this, it's like, well, the supplies are equal, but GuMiho has so much more presence on the map. His army is, it's quite better at this point. 15 Vikings to 6, and the tank harass gets more workers here. Maru has lost 51 SCVs in this game, and somehow he's still above 70. We're seeing, I'm constantly looking on the left side, I'm like, okay, 10 more workers dead. But again, Maru can rebuild. He has enough orbitals, and at this point, the thing is, though, is eventually GuMiho will continue to constrict this map forward. Right now, Maru can't take the forward base, certainly, but more Vikings, more pot shots will go down, kite away from the Liberators. That's a bit scary, and the splash damage is there, but we're going to look at the Viking number. It's 15 to 10. GuMiho, it seems like Maru might, he's going to be able to win this one, even without the repair. That splash damage, there's 2 splash shots coming out of the Liberators, really making the difference. But even still, it's 6 Vikings at a time coming out of GuMiho here. Maru just can't quite match. Technically, he could match that production, but he cares about the Liberators more, and that is preventing GuMiho from pushing maybe a little bit further forward.
But Maru needs to recognize that he has not fully won the air war yet. GuMiho, oh my God, he's...
What? I mean, that felt so bad for Maru. Like, you look at... Looking at the positioning on the game, that felt bad for Maru. He did not have a 5th base, but then you look at the supply and you look at resources lost and you look at everything that players don't really have access to, you realize it's actually not all that bad. Still, though,
I mean, you're right. He was in a tough position. We got to say that. But this reminds you, and anyone who knows their StarCraft 2 history will currently be thinking of one Greg Idra Fields. There is no way anyone watching that game who is familiar with the games of old, of yore, didn't just have that flash through their mind. Whether that was the same situation or not, I don't think it was. I think that was definitely more of an even game at best, or still a significant disadvantage. But Maru just left a game where the supplies were even.
Yeah. This is interesting. Unfortunately, of course, I exited the game a little bit too quickly. I can't look at the game and match history and look at the stats. But which is unfortunate. Regardless, I don't think Maru was out of that game. Okay, so
yeah, I don't think so either.
let's think about this though, right? He's down a base. He realistically can't get another, right? That hard contain was just moving further and further forward, like inching further forward. So from that perspective, GuMiho was going to continue to expand to take the map. Maru was trading evenly, maybe even trading a little bit better, but he wasn't ever able to break the contain. And I wonder if the logic there is just like, look, I'm never going to break this. The game might go 20 more minutes, but I'm never going to break this, right? This is too much of a chokehold on things. fine. You know what? Let's just go another game. It's like one of those situations like you see a chess grandmaster, right? And they're like, oh, hey, I have a ton of material on the board, but I can see mate happening, checkmate happening in like 10 moves. I can't, like, I don't see a way out of this. I'm gonna turn my queen over. I'm gonna concede the game, even if it looks like I have plenty of stuff, because I can see how this game is going, and I don't think that I'm gonna be able to find my way back. That being said, Steadfast, this is Maru's last life. You know, this is the knockout bracket, and I don't know who you are, or I don't care. Maru not making the round of 8, Maru not making the round of 4 is that's a massive disappointment for the Katowice finalist, for the GSL Season 1 champion, who, by the way, what matchup did he win the GSL, the semis, and the finals in? TVT. You know, he has that all-time clarity. I mean, maybe that's trust. Maybe it's like, yeah, this is not worth fighting over. I trust my ability to win game 5, but that does not feel good.
It's a little wild. It's a little wild. And once again, I want to make it clear. We saw that the supplies don't tell the whole tale. Mm-hmm. We know that, you know, GuMiho was in a good position. He was winning the air war. He was up a base. But still, that is not the kind of thing we expect to see in a situation like this. I mean, yeah. And like you said, it would be pretty wild if we didn't see Maru in even the top 8. Mm-hmm. But either way, we're going to get into it. We are going to go for game number 5 on Babylon. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that Maru... I really hope that he's just... You know, he's just good. He's not like panicked, anything like that. Because let's be real. That whole game was really going poorly for Maru. Like obviously he dealt with the first attack pretty well. And he actually like kind of flipped the script really nicely on his opponent. But then the contained at the natural killed a bunch of SCVs, denied so much mining time, denied that gas. There was a lot of things that went very, very poorly for Maru, very well for GuMiho. Still, that was unexpected.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this. It's not like, okay, maybe Maru's starting to mine out, right? And he doesn't have a lot of money. But I'm looking back at the video here. He's not mining as much gas as GuMiho is. Absolutely. GuMiho was on 5 bases. Maru was only on 4. But his economy wasn't like he was totally tapped out. You know, he didn't have a lot of gas in the bank, but honestly, neither did GuMiho. The Viking trades were going as they can. I'm looking back at this. And he built 3 Liberators, and I honestly wonder whether it's something like, okay, I built 3 Liberators, that's a mistake, I can't win the air fight anymore. You know? Like, if I cancel them, I'm not going to have the timing. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of searching for things, and yeah, I'm looking back, and he had enough gas mining. Don't know what it was. Regardless, the players asked for a bit of a break after that game number 4, and they went to go use the restroom. It's been a long series. But Maru is back. We're waiting on GuMiho right now. And, well... we're going to get ready to move into game number 5 rather soon. So if I've seen what happens here, actually GuMiho's back now, so we're going to be able to get in pretty quickly. If I'm GuMiho Steadfast and I've seen how this series has gone, you got to assume that he's going to go something mid-game focused, right? Early game hasn't really quite found what it's wanted, but late game, obviously scary, but he's found so much incredible opportunities in this mid-game on like 2.5, 3 bases. Target something towards that, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still just like running through that game in my head, and we're not used to Maru doing something like that. You know, it feels like GuMiho. And I don't want to speak too soon. It feels like GuMiho's in his head a little bit.
Yeah. Maru's shown, honestly, Maru's shown some mental weakness in TVT. Straight up, it hurts to say it, Maru's one of the all-time greats, but look at Katowice. You know, he was clearly mentally broken in that series. And of course, we don't have a camera on Maru. We don't see what happens. He might have been using the Oliveira restroom trick. I don't know. But we're going to find out because this is our 5th and final game here of our second to last series. It's Maru 2. It's GuMiho 2. And it's Babylon. Map number 5. Let's see if the onside Terran in the upper left can do it here. Give it up, folks. It's Maru.
And his opponent. spawning down in the bottom right, playing out of his damn mind. So impressive from him so far. Give it up for the Red Terran player, GuMiho. I am actually just, I mean, we've been talking about Maru and, Maru maybe leaving too early in that game. GuMiho, though, has been so impressive, not just in this series, but in general today. He is really channeling superstardom.
GSL
today.
champion GuMiho.
He is playing, pardon?
He's channeling his GSL champion GuMiho. Like he has.
Yeah. He's channeling all 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse today. All four Terrans of the Apocalypse.
This is, and you talk about his entire run, right? He beat Spirit earlier, and if you want to include that series on this one, he's had what 5, 6 miraculous comebacks in these 2 series. We talked about Maru, right? Maru probably left that game too early. I don't know, but Maru is known for comebacks, for his ability to fight forward, to his ability to do something, and to never die, to always come back into a game. And it's GuMiho the one that's doing that. In this series, and the series against Spirit, it's like the script is flipped. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's foreign Maru syndrome, or maybe in offline foreign tournaments. But even that, Steadfast, that as much as we talk about it a little bit in the last, I don't know, couple years, Maru has started to not have that issue anymore. He's started to, even if he doesn't win a tournament, make the finals look solid. So to see GuMiho, I mean, absolutely shatter, coupled with the Oliveira tournament, Oliveira Katowice championships, to see Maru's veneer of just untouchability in TVT, to see that shattered here, it's pretty cool. Regardless of what happens in this series, that's pretty cool to watch.
Well, I mean, tell that to Maru fans, and I think they would disagree. But yeah, it is really cool to see like some more competitive stuff coming up, because there was a time where we just kind of took for granted that Maru walked into a TVT, and if his opponent wasn't named TY, the series was over before it started. There was a period of time where it was just like, well, it's another Maru TVT. We'll see you in 2.5 hours when he advances on to the next round. But that's not really the case anymore. Now players are really stepping up to the plate against him. Oliveira obviously did that at DreamHack, at IEM Katowice. And now we've got GuMiho doing the same here. I mean, this is just really cool to see. It is amazing. By the way, Maru, despite the fact that he opened up double gas and scouted, he still built the command center on the high ground, which has me wondering, like, it feels like you would never do that on Babylon. Like, is he starting to doubt himself even? Like, I don't want to read too much into a relatively small move, but everything does count. Oh my goodness. GuMiho. Oh, he's going to get the lock on the medevac, but it will get broken almost instantly. Hilarious grenade knocks the tank askew. Good scout, though, and a good reaction time from both players.
The big deal, the big deal right now, right, is the scout. Is the delaying this as much as possible. We got a tank now, done for GuMiho. Maru, this is a very aggressive siege forward. A Viking on the way as well. That is the difference, right, between this game and the last one. The Viking is not ready yet, so this actually can find its way into the natural a little bit more, but no workers have died just yet. And here comes the break. Surround on the backside. Lock on, though, it's on a Reaper, not on the tank, so it's going to get a little more damage. Even still, nothing doing for Maru whatsoever. And here's the thing, Steadfast. Not only is Maru not committing to this, as GuMiho did, there's no secondary drop. It's just going to be this drop in the main base right now, and a Viking has more than enough, and the Cyclone on the left side should shut this entire thing down. Lock it on. The tank's going to get out, absolutely, but this is going to be the end of this. The tank's got it. Okay, there we go. Land the Viking. Tank goes down. Reaper survives. Beautiful for GuMiho here. Excellent crisis management in this game 5.
It was, but good job from Maru to get some value when he really shouldn't have been able to get any at the end. Especially, I think he manually dropped the tank out first. I think it might have just gone out on its own first, but I want to believe that he manually made sure that it did. Regardless, the fact that he, killed off the Cyclone, got anything out of that, and even actually escaped with the Reaper no, actually he did lose the Reaper. Well, eventually he lost it, but he escaped with it for the moment. Is really cool. But GuMiho, I mean, he experienced success with this Viking tank push in the 2 games that he won in game 1 and game 4. And he is setting up to try and do the exact same thing, and it's a double starport play. Game number 5, 2 base, 3 starports. What are we seeing, GuMiho, you madman?
I mean, we saw this in game 3 as well. Granted, that was for battle cruisers and didn't work out super well. But wait, didn't GuMiho do that? Didn't he drop the double starport? Was that game 1? Am I crazy? Right?
That was game 2 way later. That was game 2 off of 3 command centers. He did 2 starport. No.
It was a spirit game. It was a spirit game. Yeah, there we go. You see, he's done this before, and I mean, what an opportunity. The tank drop got nothing steadfast, and this scan doesn't see anything either.
No, it does not. It does not see what it needs to see. We do see a very nice line of tanks here from Maru, but GuMiho, oh, there's the scan. Maru knew something was up. He double scans. He finds it in the natural expansion. Maru throwing down additional barracks. He's going to try and jump this position very quickly. He does have double Raven, or well, not double Raven. He's got double interference matrix off the single Raven. Oh, he wants to break this right here and now. He's going to get the advantage in the air. There's the double drop. Or while the double interference matrix coming on in, the reinforcing Marines and siege tanks going to be enough to hold the position. Maru loses 8 SCVs with the early break attempt. He did take the air superiority, but this is still uncomfortable. Ooh, nice scan, but nice unsiege from Maru.
And the big thing here, Steadfast, GuMiho holds the position. And you talk about air superiority, you can talk about it all you want. GuMiho can build more. Actually, it's kind of crazy. He didn't get add-ons. It's only 4 Vikings at a time. It's like the Clem 8 racks, right? You just want production as quick as humanly possible to make sure that you can make that push happen. So for now, the Vikings continue to land. It's 9 Vikings to 8, though, even if that extra Viking is very low. And Maru is doing a great job of holding on here, of forcing GuMiho back. Big shot there on the tank. Almost knocks it out. But this is round 1. GuMiho does have his third base on the way. Of course, it's very slow. But I think we're gonna see him go for it again, right? Eventually he will have that Viking lead. In fact, he does right now. But the question is, as GuMiho is gonna want to hit again, you have to hit again with how committed he is. Has there been too much a delay? Has Maru forced him to wait too long? Is the stuff on the ground worth enough?
I think Maru pushed this away, and what he did more than anything with that little break, even though he didn't break it, he pushed it back far enough and kept it from encroaching forward, such that now he is able to secure and mine from his third base. And GuMiho, while he will retake air superiority eventually, ooh, it's actually an auto turret coming on in, and now I say eventually, he actually just shattered the air of Maru. And now Liberator's coming on in is going to be a huge problem, but Stim is done. Combat Shields is getting close. +1 weapons probably won't be done, but that Combat Shields and that Stim are going to be valuable.
That it is, and this Raven somehow is still alive here, Steadfast. It has energy for probably another shutdown, but now, okay, the Vikings, they run forward, they're looking for it. Great land there on top of everything, and they're gonna take the fight. The tanks, they have to run away. SCVs are gonna get pulled here. Maru, death's doorstep, he's gotta make something happen, but he doesn't commit. And the Vikings on the high ground once again, insurmountable air superiority at this point, but look at where the Raven is. It's so far away. He's buying time. Maru's gotta repair it here. But the SCVs, eventually the slow constriction of this game is allowing GuMiho to find his way into the third. That Raven it's looking for the shot. Okay, on the right side here, Steadfast, pay attention. Is Maru going to find the shutdown? Is he going to get the break here? Vikings land. 1 tank is going to have to do it on the shutdown, and I don't think it's going to be enough, even as these tanks will fall. 31 SCVs hit the deck, and Maru seems destined. There is no shot anymore. The third base will fall. Steadfast, GuMiho, the king of TVT in this tournament. Maru, 1 shot. What can he do here to avoid a round of 12 exit?
There's nothing he can do at this point. It is all in the hands of GuMiho. GuMiho has killed the third command center. He has shattered the air, and he has broken Maru. Maru's going to try one last SCV pull, but the very quick Viking land is more than enough to prevent that move from doing anything. Maru, he is in desperation mode, but he is not going to be able to get his way out of this. 34 SCVs have fallen. It is all over right now. We've got the landed Vikings targeting down the command center. Marauder's going to try and get in on top of this. They're not going to do anything. And GuMiho, he has got to know that his ticket is basically punched.
One last shot from Maru here, pulls the SCVs, but the Kings rule the